All right. So that being said, I'll move straight into today's topic. We're looking at facility management foundations. I've talked about myself and my experience and some of the things I've done to qualify to be here to take you through this session today. We've asked that you please do your introductions in the group. I will be doing a count after this class to be sure that all of the introductions have been done by everybody who should be in this session or in this class. In this very session, we're going to look at introductions, talk about the building life cycle, talk about the elements of FM, and then we're going to spend most of the time talking about strategies to foster operational excellence. So this is going to be the core of our message in this afternoon session. So please, we always say that this is a formal program. Kindly be in a desk position, have a pen and a notebook, a notepad, ready to take notes. Write down 3 things. Write down a question that you have while I'm talking, because for the next 90 minutes, you just have to just patiently write down your questions. The second thing is write down anything new that you are learning new, right? So most of the things that I'll be talking about, you're familiar with them, you've been exposed to them here and there, but if you have anything that strikes you as new, unique, or relevant, please note it. And then the final one, write down any action you intend to take because of what I'm talking about. So there's a difference between what I'm learning and what I would do. What I would do refers specifically to a job you are doing, an assignment you have on hand, an engagement you have, any kind of activity that you are on now or you are about to do, and that what you are hearing is giving you an insight on how to do. Okay, so 3 things. Your questions, we'll discuss them in class. And if whatever we cannot capture in class, we'll discuss them in the group, in your class group. 2, your new knowledge. Any new knowledge you pick, anything that strikes you, please note it, because we're going to discuss that in the next class. When we come to the next class, the first thing we're going to do is, what are your key takeaways? Each person will give at least 1 or 2 key takeaways. Please prepare for the session. Come in on time to the class and be part of that session. Talk about your key takeaways. We don't want to learn and forget in 2 days' time, right? So because we have to find a way to reinforce the learning and make sure that we soak it in. So you do the learning now. You do an assessment today of 10 questions from what we have learned. You've noted your highlight from today's lesson, and on Friday, you are able to bring out key highlights. And finally, actionable points, things you want to do. Those things will be peculiar and specific to your work situation and your environment. We will not be discussing that with you, okay? But there will be things you have picked up from insights about what we're learning in class, okay? So FM is a wide-ranging and growing field that covers various aspects of managing people, as they interact with the physical facilities and buildings. People use the buildings, and FM manage the people in the way they use the buildings. So we try to say we manage the buildings, but we manage the buildings because of the people. So our focus is on the people. If we understand well what the people want to do, users of the building want to do, want to achieve, want to overcome, wants to become in life and in their careers, in their jobs, in what they're trying to achieve, our buildings will be better suited for those purposes, okay? So we plan, design, construct, maintain, operate, secure, provide safety, health, and sustainability for all spaces, and provide services that makes those spaces function. So water, electricity, light, air conditioning, cooling, ventilation, comfortable ambience, aesthetics, whatever it is that makes the space useful. That's what we do. We are responsible for ensuring that the facilities that we manage are safe, comfortable, efficient, and productive for the occupants and users. There are several definitions of FM. One of the things I try to give my students is, look at all the definitions of FM, come up with your own, right? So IFMA says it's an interdisciplinary role that harmonizes the workplace with the people and work of an organization, that it encompasses a range of disciplines to ensure functionality, comfort, safety, and efficiency, right? Courts and Lee, in their first edition of Facility Management Handbook, says it coordinates and integrates the physical resources, space, plus working function of the organization. That's a half statement. And then Chotin Panic also wrote in his book that FM offers the services supporting the core business. Now, from all of this, well, there's quite a few. The U.S. Congress saying that the FM assists in meeting the objectives of the organization by the cost-effective provision and proactive management of space and service coming up here within the law in such a way as to enable the users to operate safely, effectively, and efficiently. And then the IWFM, formerly BIFM, also defines facility management as the practice of coordinating the physical workspace with the people and work of an organization, integrating the principles of business administration, architecture, and the behavioral and engineering sciences. So in 2017, all of these definitions, hundreds and hundreds of them, under the aegis of the Global FM, which is like the global body of facility management associations globally, working with the International Standardization Organization and a technical committee for ISO standards creation in facility management, came up with this ISO definition, which was defined in ISO 41011 in 2017, that facility management is an organizational function which integrates people, place, and process within the built environment with the purpose of improving the quality of life of people and the productivity of the core business. So if you take this definition, you can break it down into two parts. What is facility management? An organizational function that does what? Integrates people, place, and process within the built environment. People, place, and process is how we encapsulate all that we do. But the big deal in this definition is the purpose of what we do. Improve the quality of life of people and the productivity of the core business. There are two legs to what we do in FM. Quality of life. So if you think about all the health and safety, ergonomy, the aesthetics, the security, the soft services to provide, occupant services to provide, all of them are aimed at improving quality of life. Now, quality of life now feeds into the second leg, which is the productivity of the core business, because quality of life helps individuals to improve their own productivity. And by improving their own productivity, the core business also profits because there's more work done, there's higher quality work done, there's an improvement in every area of the business because FM is done well. So we take care of the total being who does the bits to make the organization function and excel at what it does. So FM is strategic in that respect. We are non-core, but we are enablers of the core business, right? So think about it that way. So when you ask an organization, what does this organization do? What you're going to hear is the core. We're a banking organization. We're an insurance firm. We're a manufacturing firm. We are right? Now, the FM in that organization is not a manufacturer, it's not a banker, it's not an insurer, it's not any of the things that the business identifies itself as to its customers, right? But the FM needs to understand that its job is to ensure that the core business is enabled to meet the needs of its customers and be enriched in the process. So the FM now makes sure that the spaces and services are provided in such a way that the people are well cared for. Their lives, quality of their lives can be improved so that the business can succeed and excel. To that extent, we must have a deep understanding of why the organization exists so that we can use that to translate to the kind of care we need to provide for the kind of people that can help that organization to excel and succeed. In essence, if we do our job well, the right kind of people will be attracted to the organization. The right kind of people will be encouraged to stay. The right kind of people will be provided with the right resources, impetus, environments, whatever convenience and comfort they need to deliver. The mission will be successful. So if we can define our value proposition to the organization in this light, we will become more respected, we'll become more absorbed in terms of internalizing us as part of the organization. We'll no longer see ourselves as outsiders to the organization because we are strategic enablers of the business. In terms of scope, it's virtually everywhere, right? So everything that is not equivalent is facility management. So whether it's cleaning, support services, everything called front office, back office, welfare, labor supply, recruitment, procurement, all of those things, property services, catering services, security services, just name it. Everything that's not a core business. So there's usually that one core business and many non-core businesses, right? But we are the managers of all that scope that is in the non-core business. How did FM start? I'll tell you that we can say in the early late 70s to early 80s. People who were in manufacturing, construction, they started seeing that there was a lot more to maintenance, because maintenance is what gave birth to FM. There was a lot more to maintenance that needed to be professionalized, right? So that's how they started talking about FM. That's how the first FM organization was created. IFMA started out, that early 79, 80, and people started talking about, oh, let's become facility managers, let's create a body of knowledge, and so on and so forth. But before then, in the 17th and 18th century, RICS, Rural Institution of Chartered Surveyors, have also been there in the built environment, everything from chartering surveyors to engineers to facility managers, maintenance people of all type of fields in the built environment, providing these kind of qualifications all along. But it is just in the last 40 years, we can now say people have now begun to branch out of those other core business, other built environment businesses or departments to say, we are actually facility managers. We do more than maintenance. We have so many things that are in the scope of work that we deliver beyond maintenance. I will be talking about some of these as we go on. We're going to break them down. See, the entire scope of FM is way, way, way beyond maintenance, okay? Now, but before this became a formal profession, what we can say, this is a profession, this is what I do. FM had always existed, because if you think about what FM does, ensure functionality, improvement of quality of life and productivity of the core business. Everywhere humans have lived, whether to reside, whether to work, whether to worship, whether to recreate or play, or whether to be buried at the end of the day, there's always been some kind of functionality built into it. So that's why we don't, we drop our refuse in the same place where we sleep, or eat in the same place where we use the toilet and things like that. The structure has always been there, that there should be some kind of flow, there should be some kind of services, there should be some kind of order around how we interact with space. So we basically just took that ancient need or requirement, and then moved it into a structured profession, a whole body of knowledge built out of it that has turned into first, second, third degrees in professional academic qualifications, as well as credentials and certifications globally. So we now call ourselves facility managers as professionals. By the time you go through this program, you now realize that even if you've done this for 10 years or 15 years, there's been a lot that you have not done following the proper modus operandi or the SOP, standard operating procedures, that FM prescribes. And you'll find all of them in this program that we're running. All right, so basically, you need to have technical skills, managerial skills, and interpersonal skills. These are the three key skills requirements for FM. If I were to order these three, I will order them in reverse, right? So interpersonal skills is the most important skills that you have, because people is key. Being able to manage people, being able to interact with people, handle stakeholders, and get the best out of them, because FM is not a single man's job. It's a teamwork. They're both the users, the FM service providers, the funding authorities, the regulatory authorities. Everybody must work together as a team to make sure the users get the best experience. So I'll flip that in his head and say interpersonal skills, managerial skills, and then technical skills. Surprised that I put technical skills at the bottom, because most people think that once I'm an engineer, I'll be a good facility manager. Then my experience of over 25 years have proved that has not been the case, right? You get hung up in technical stuff, machinery, equipment, buildings related activities and care and concern, that you forget why you are doing what you are doing. And that's why you need to start from the personal, interpersonal, managerial down to the technical. If you know why you're doing what you are doing, you can get anybody to do technical stuff. It's way at the bottom, to be honest. And our role as managers means that we manage people, manage resources, we manage assets. Okay. So let's just, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these core competencies. We're going to have another session where we're going to break them down one after the other. But just looking at this list, what comes to mind, easily is that what we seem to think FM is, before we probably got here, before we got engaged in proper studies of what FM is that number 7, operations and maintenance. In fact, the maintenance part, sometimes the operations part, because if you are doing mostly reactive work, something breaks, you fix it, the college come and attend to this, the coach come and supply that, and then you are responding to needs, even if you are doing it very quickly and very swiftly, that is not facility management. That's just a little bit of FM that you're not even doing well. If you're doing that well alone, you will be setting programs in place to ensure that things are in order. Things don't break for you to fix. Things don't break because you ensure that they don't break. All right. And then come to communications, risk management or emergency preparedness, environmental stewardship and sustainability, finance and business, human factors, leadership and strategy, project management, quality, real estate and property management, and technology. Sounds like your profession covers every other profession, isn't it? And that's because you will manage spaces and provide services to people of various backgrounds and disciplines doing different types of professions. So I'm going to serve doctors and lawyers and engineers and airport operators and hoteliers, and we'll provide services for all of them, right? I'm going to encounter buildings designed for different kind of purposes, and I must still deliver, make sure that there's full integration between the people and those buildings. I'm going to use a lot of resources. I need to be able to justify those resources. I need to get approval for those resources. I'll need to interact with many stakeholders, and I can't afford to have somebody who doesn't like me in my profession, because, it's a game of likeness. It's when they say I have done well and they signed off and rated me well, that's when I've done well, no matter how hard I worked, right? So people, the perception, the expectation is key to what I'm doing. So if I take all of these and I tell myself, okay, so that means I must be a jack of all trades. That's what FM requires of me. That's what it means. I can't wake up and say, oh, no, I'm not. No, I want to be a jack of all trades and at the same time be a master of all. That's what this requires of me. Now, a master is not a specialist. A specialist is the person who does one thing and does it very deeply and very well. That's a technical person. A master is the one who can scope the requirements, give that assignment, and can judge whether it has been done well or not done well because he understands the requirements of the customer. That's what makes you a master, jack of all trades, and also a master. So if you think about it, let's break it down to the practical day-to-day things. We operate the buildings, clean security, maintenance, emergency and disaster response, sustainability planning, project management, budgeting, real estate and space management. It can be everywhere. It's so broad. One day you're managing property, the next day you're supervising, a new project to paint your office. The next day you are trying to look for software to do A and B automations. The next day you are trying to ensure that energy is being managed properly. You are accounting for stuff. The next day you are planning capex, how funds will be expended in the next 5 years, and so on and so forth. It's just a massive scope that we cover. So when I saw this Michelle Theriot's FM wheel, I liked it because, even this does not fully, encapsulate everything that we do. So when you become an FM, just know that you are a jack of all trades and master of all. Everything that the core business needs to excel and succeed is your job in the organization. Now, sometimes your designation, the title that you bear may not necessarily say facility manager. So don't get confused about that. Some of you here are in admin, some of you are in finance and accounts, some of you are, I've had lawyers, I've had directors in the military, I've had professors in universities take this program because they know that the moment they get, put into a position and they have to take care of the people and the assets and resources, they need to come and take facility management training. So matrons in hospitals, people who manage airports, facilities, people basically they have to deal with resources and assets, physical assets especially, they need to be here. So even if they call you a HRO officer and your role is to make sure that the MD's office is functioning properly, or that the staff in their common areas where they work, things are not inconveniencing them and so on. You are doing FM work, isn't it? So think about it and rethink the things you do or you should be doing as FM. So your duties can be stated in every kind of configuration. Don't get hung up on what you're asked to do or what you're not asked to do. Learn to become a facility manager, become that versatile, and be able to deal with tasks as varied as they come. Okay. So I've talked about FM as a strategic enabler, right? It's not just about maintenance, it's a strategic role that directly impacts the bottom line and operational success of your organization. And it's evolving. There's now a greater focus on health and safety standards, a greater focus on well-being, because there's so many people coming to work who are not contributing much because they are not in a proper state of mind, not in the proper state of physical health. And in the past, FM did not capture all of this. We felt that's not our role, right? But the moment we realized that FM has expanded to capture that whole scope of ensuring that the company or the organization we work for can excel at what it does. And it can only excel because the people in the organization have a good quality of life. We realize that we have to take care of that quality of life, And so everything, up to someone having backache, somebody, having the risk of slip and fall in the space that we manage, somebody having the risk of having an accident because they are driving an organizational vehicle and so on and so forth. We need to take care of that as part of our scope. So it's expanding on a daily basis. Okay. So, and then again, there are realizations now that we affect the bottom line to a large extent, right? Every organization, especially even if it's non-profit, all organizations basically have a bottom line, and if you take the profit bottom line, it's simply revenue minus expenses equals profits, isn't it? So that bottom line is being watched and guarded. Most organizations are busy watching the revenue. The salespeople must bring in this and that. Those targets must be met. If they are not being met, things will have to shake up, right? But when things happen in the organization and they find themselves in a bind, they turn to the expenses and they say, hey, so what's going on with the expenses? Who's burning our cash? What are they putting the money into? And in most cases, because they've not been strategic, and we, the FMs, have not been strategic in demonstrating value, cutting losses, cutting out waste from our system, we now allow management to put a lens on us and say, hey, reduce your staff, cut down that, outsource this, throw away that. By the time they do that, it comes from them, you have lost control. In some cases, you are caught with that cut and you're out of the way. So FM has a big financial implication to organizations. Some organizations have gone under, not because they did not manage the organization effectively in the core business, but because the FM function or the support function ran off and the bills could not be managed. And the organization ran into debt and could not manage or handle. Okay, so FM, in terms of tasks that we perform, can be hard services, which we also call the building services. Building services are things we do for the building, the physical maintenance of electrical systems, air conditioning system, plumbing systems, life safety systems. All of those we do as hard services or hard FM. And then we have the soft FM, which we also call the occupant services. Soft services make the environment pleasant and safe for occupants, cleaning, landscaping, security services, all of those things that we do that suit the life and the activities of the user, right? So when we scope hard services, we scope it relative to the dimensions of the building. When we scope soft services, we scope it relative to the dimensions of the users, what they are doing and who they are and what their preferences are. So just taking this, look at this list, it gives you, some ways to break down this categorization. So if your FM development is becoming bigger, instead of having everybody doing everything, this could be a way to split up the task, right, and break them into two divisions or departments, where one handles soft services, the other person handles hard services. And some organizations have one or two tweaks to this. For example, they could take the space management and dump it with hard services because it deals with furniture and does moves, no problem. Those two can be moved in there. Some people can take something like security because you have electrical systems and ultra low voltage systems where CCTVs and access control is part of hard services. Okay, let's just put the security guards that actually manage those systems into the hard services. So whatever structure that you decide to deploy, This is a broad way to split up the job. Okay. And then there are standards, there are laws, there are codes, there are guidelines, there are best practices for how FM is done, right? So at the basic level, we have the building code, the Nigerian building code, the international building code. Become familiar with them. We have a class we're going to take to talk more about the building code as we go on with this program. And then we have health and safety regulations. Every law, every country has those health and safety regulations. FMs have a major role to implement. We have a major role to play when it comes to health and safety, because everybody that comes to use the buildings that we manage are under our care. We have a duty of care. If something happens and somebody is injured, or if fatality happens in our facility, it forms part of our results, right? It's automatically part of our results. We cannot report health and safety for just the people that we used to work. We report health and safety for everybody that uses our space. So people fainting or anything happening in our facility, we are accountable. So we must understand that those standards affect us, okay? And there are certain level of negligence that can lead to going to jail if you are not careful how you deliver your services as an FM. And then, of course, I invited you to join the FMPN. Many of us already belong to quantity surveying associations, bodies in engineering, and the rest. But identify with the National Association, the umbrella body of FMs in Nigeria. And also, as you advance in your career, take on more certifications and start looking at the international FM standards to deploy for the organizations that you serve. So it doesn't matter where you are focused. You can start from a small, narrow scope, just managing cleaning, for example, to become, a general portfolio manager for the organization's real estate. Or you could start from something very general as a team lead or supervisor, operation manager in one site, and then be, pushed into a specialist role like technology manager for the entire organization, managing their software and help desk and the rest. So it can go, in any direction. The important thing is to understand the full scope, and then, take the bits that you're handling at this moment and be ready to advance into other opportunities that will come your way in the industry. All right, so let's talk about key elements of facility management. We'll talk about them as the main breakdown of the definition. We have the people, the property, the process, the technology. The people use the property, and that requires a process. Property is opened for people to come in and use. There's operational activities, switching things on, optimizing things, creating settings, configuring this and that, just to make the place suitable, right? FM is doing that. At the same time, FM is deploying certain processes to do that. For example, we have a work order for tracking things. We have rosters for employees. We have schedules for maintenance. We have all kinds of things. Those ones can be set up and operated manually in spreadsheets and logbooks and work order sheets and so on and so forth. Or we can now deploy technology to automate the process. So data gathering can be automated, process implementation, repetitive task automation, reminders and automated actions that don't require human interference. Technology brings all that in. Now, the beautiful thing is that FM can also integrate this technology, not just process, but into the property itself. And that's why you start hearing of smart buildings, buildings that know when nobody's in the room, light goes off, AC goes off, buildings that know when outside is dark for security light to come on, and so on and so forth, right? So if we do all of this with a mindset of minimum impact on the environment, minimum impact, we say we are doing FM sustainably. So we're integrating people, place, of property, process, and technology in an ambience or environment of sustainability. We're going to have a session where we'll talk fully about sustainability, and I'm sure it's going to give you a greater insight. So let's really talk about people. People are very crucial in facility management. What you do is about managing people. It's about the perception of those people. If the people you are serving don't think you are professional, don't think you know what you're doing, don't think you are doing well, don't accept that you are good. You are not good. Whatever they think, whatever they judge you as is what you are. That's the truth about FM. So we don't only focus on learning how to do our job, we focus on learning how to manage people's perception and expectation. First, we manage expectation before we get things done, right? So if somebody needs a service from me, I should be able to capture what the person needs carefully, get approval, get agreements of my understanding that's accurate to what the person understands his requirements are. When I deliver and come back to say I've done what you want, I need to also go back and find out if the person is satisfied. If I did the first part, understanding and documenting my understanding, my understanding of the person's expectation is now unified. There's a common understanding of what I should do. I am guided in delivering. But when I deliver, I don't just walk away. I've delivered, I still need to get back and see how they experience it, and then ask them to give me feedback, whether it's a survey, whether it's a one-on-one conversation. That helps me close the loop. Did I do well? Did I not do well? If I didn't do well, I understand what the gap is. I know what to improve in the next, iteration of my service delivery. That's the beautiful thing about FM. So I can't say I know FM if I don't know the people, if I don't know what they want. Okay, so it's just impossible. So that's why many people can go into FM and fall flat in their face and start acting like, I know what I'm doing and I'm the best. You can't be the best. You cannot deliver FM knowing what you are doing. You have to start doing FM knowing your customers and users and what they expect and what they need. Okay, so it's not just technical skills. It's not enough to know HVAC. I know the temperature to set the space. If people tell you that the AC is too cold, and all of them say it's too cold, and you think this is the standard AC that your building should be using, you have failed woefully because you're no longer listening, right? So your technical skills do not give you any accolades or any results at that point because you're inconveniencing people in that space. And then FM is more of managerial, okay? People are the most critical asset. They're the driving force behind every process, ensuring the facilities operate efficiently and effectively. So when we talk about people, we're talking about those you work with, those you are your team and contractors and vendors. They're all on one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is your users, management, regulators, and all of that, right? So our job on this side of the coin is to learn what those who use it and regulate and control us, what their expectations are, and deliver it perfectly and confirm that we have done it. Okay. So relationships is a big part of what we do, managing relations with our colleagues. You can be a big orga in the organization, director of facilities, very big role. And then you have one IT officer there who is a junior staff. Step on his toes by providing poor services. He is the one that's going to pass judgment on you. Your rank doesn't matter anymore. You have to be humble and respectful and listen to his opinion to know exactly what he needs and provide that as it is. Okay. So people is, all about interaction, stakeholder management, proper communication, leadership. If you have a vision for your facility, the kind of results you want to achieve, it should be based on what the people expect, what they want. And if you can draw it up and show a clear picture, you can even get them to perform their own aspect, their own parts in ensuring that vision is implemented. For example, you need approval. The kind of business cases, the kind of logic you need to put into convincing the people that needs the service to approve the fund for you to deliver the service. You think it's a joke. It's not a joke. It's a big deal, right? If they don't approve it, you are still the one that failed. So just to understand that it's a big part of our job, right? And then when we walk away and somebody now comes in to do a survey or try to check the pulse of those we are serving, if they say no, it's not good, there's no other way to define it. There's no other way to look at it. You're really not good. And then of course, talked about processes. There's a pattern to everything. Understand the pattern, document it. Start with documenting it as is. So when I go to some organization and hear, how do you guys? Well, there's no process. This place, the system is very archaic. There's no process. Look, start simple. Just look around and ask, if we want to do this, where do we start? What's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step till we deliver it? So take a plain sheet, put in the activity and put in the steps for achieving it. You can indicate, who is responsible for it, for each step, resources or materials or tools required for each step. And then you just come up with a simple process document for a single activity. Build that activity by activity. Oh, this guy is servicing AC. What's the process for servicing AC? You sit down with him and come up with one pager. Oh, that guy is doing some plumbing maintenance. He's checking some things. What's the process for inspections in plumbing? Da, 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 da. Oh, somebody's painting. Painting is done. We're going to paint. What's the process for doing the painting? We just do one pager. And by the time you compile those one-page documents that just simple outlines of what you do, you have created an SOP, standard operating procedure, a playbook of sorts. That becomes the basis for all future process improvement. So I take up a process. I'm trying to do it differently. I'm asking why. Give me a good reason for why I'm trying to do it differently. What I'll do is I'll come into my process, go back to it, and say, okay, so we have two processes that is bypassing and it's making sense. Let's remove those processes from our process. We refine our process. We do value stream mapping. We get better results from the way we understand the process. And we ensure that everybody that works for us in our team, in our organization, are following the process. Superior wisdom will come. Continuous improvement will come. But it will come and help us document, improve what the process is, so that we have that improved process to continue working with from the day that new idea has come in. Okay. All right, so that's basically step-by-step instructions. It's very straightforward. Able to put that together, you have your processes, okay? And every time the process needs tweaking, simple tweaks. And then the buildings, the assets, the place, the property, anything that we manage. So we want to make sure that it is suitable for the people. It's suitable to meet the needs of the users. That's key to what we do. We don't make users suitable for our facility. We don't try to tell them, no, that's not how it's done. This is what you should do. We try to understand what they're trying to do and provide facilities that meet their needs, okay? Because if people are not comfortable, they don't find what they're doing easy to do, they are finding disruptions unnecessarily. The physical environment is not giving them the sense of, doesn't give them the right appeal, from aesthetics to ambience to convenience to comfort, thermal or lighting comfort or any kind of comfort, then we'll just reduce our value to that organization because we're killing the productivity of the core business. I've talked about technology. Spend time to ensure that you understand where you are as an organization relative to technology, different types of technology. If you are still on spreadsheet, thank God you've moved beyond paper logbook, right? So you can do some analysis on spreadsheets, work with that data and the rest. If you moved on to simple software for tracking ABC, or even automated spreadsheet like Smartsheets, from there to simple software for CMMS, and then maybe at some points you moved up, rented or built or bought a new space where automation can be built into the building. You now have access to a building management system that you can see visually what's going on in the building. You are moving up the technology ladder. The important thing is to understand where you are and know what the next step will be and the kind of value that next step of technology deployment will bring to your organization and your operations. We have a session where we're going to talk about one of the classes. We're going to talk about technology, all the latest technology, how they're applied in FM. We're going to have another one where we'll talk about the typical software, one of the software that we present. They'll do a demo for us and see what technology and software tools can do for you in managing facility. And then we'll expose you to opportunities like Internet of Things, smart buildings, energy efficiency technology, and things that can really elevate your awareness of what's happening in the world around you. Because the facility you're managing today is not the one you're going to imagine forever, right? Even within your organization, the next thing they're going to move into is going to be smarter. New buildings are coming up with smarter technologies on a daily basis that we need to be familiar with, not lose sight of them, okay? So in integrating the 4 elements, we talk about safety, comfort, efficiency, and functionality as the intersection between the 4 elements. Between people and process is safety, between people and place is comfort, between place and technology is efficiency, and between process and technology is functionality. In essence, we're using these as a framework to circumscribe the integration of all of the 4 elements of facility management. And if you circumscribe all of this, it means that you want to strive for safety, comfort, efficiency, and functionality as your main goals, while you're using your interaction between people, place, process, and technology to provide the facility services you provide for the people you serve. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take a 5 minute break. And when I come back, I'll be looking at the strategies to foster operational excellence in facility management. So usually at this point, I'll ask that somebody in the class put in the chat on this class that we are on break for 5 minutes. Okay, please just type in there, we're on break for 5 minutes. Some people who have doodled up for a minute or two, I'll try to grab a cup of water. When they come back, they'll start saying, nobody's talking, I'm not hearing anything. Nothing is broken in your system. Thank you. See you in 5 minutes. All right. Time to get back in now. 5-minute break is over. Please confirm that you hear me okay.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right, good, good. So I'm going to run through this modules strategies to foster operational excellence in facility management. We talk about operational excellence as a way to provide customer value, process efficiency, continuous improvement, proactive problem solving, streamlining your operations, minimizing waste, ensuring safety and compliance, aligning facility management practices with the broader organizational strategy. So this is top level objectives for anything regarding operational excellence. Okay, value being key there and ending with alignment. Okay, so how do you get it right? We talk about our process efficiency and optimization. How do we take a look at all the processes? If you've never defined your processes, you cannot be talking about operational excellence, right? So that's a given. So if you don't have written down processes on how things are done in your organization, you're not talking about optimizing yet. Okay, so we're not talking about you. Okay, so the first thing is to ensure that you can look at processes you've identified how things are currently done. Then you can now say, let's value stream map it. Value stream map is take every step in the process and ask, what value does this step bring? And then that process also helps us to remove redundancies. We now look at what others are doing through benchmarking, what's giving them results, and then start thinking about how to reduce downtime and improve our service delivery. Okay, and then that also leads us to the next level, the next step in operational excellence, which is quality management and continuous improvement. How do we maintain high standards? It's possible to get to a high standard, but can you maintain it? Can you sustain it? Now, the trick about it is customer requirements will be changing. So if you stay at your today's high standard, when the customer requirement changes tomorrow, that becomes low quality, right? So you must implement continuous improvements to adjust continuously to meet with the customer expectations that will be changing and their tastes and preferences that are changing. And then the organization too will also be setting goals that you need to apply and conform to. And then there's the cost aspect, finances. We are already identified as the spenders, right? And sometimes we find it difficult to even justify, the value we bring for the funds that we receive and we spend, and that can become a big challenge. That is at a strategic level, being able to talk strategically, being able to show value. So if an organization wants to spend money on a core business function or requirement or asset acquisition, and you need that money or part of it for something in FM, can you stand with that core business function and make your case, debate and say this is why this fund should be released to me compared to this other one? Sometimes we struggle now, but even at a basic level where you are not operating at that justification and alignment level and funds are available for you for things you need to do, you have a structure for monitoring things, right? Do you, gauge your budgets? Do you take decisions on what to spend on after doing strategic analysis? Or do you just head first, spend the money and find the results later, right? So it's very important that we, model some kind of financial control into our operations. That's one way we can become endear ourselves to management. And if you take that to that point where it becomes a policy in the organization, no wastage, no misspending, no misappropriation. And then finally, model integrity. Nothing from the organization goes into your pockets. Get your pay, do valuable job, maintain very high ethical standards, and you will excel in this profession. Make data-driven decisions. Very important. Make data-driven decisions. okay? Collect and analyze data in all of your operations, that can be used to identify trends, predict maintenance needs, and make informed decisions that enhance efficiency and reduce costs. And then, of course, technology can be very helpful, especially when it comes to automating processes, using fewer hands to get things done, energy management that reduces costs and gives us sustainability credits, as well as all of the security, comfort, and safety that comes from technology system built into security, fire, and safety system. All of these are part of increasing operational excellence. Automation and IoT facilities, we can simplify how these things are operated. Somebody will not leave lights on or leave ACs on or bypass the security system anymore because you've automated everything. So these are ways to improve operational excellence because they save money, they increase sustainability credits, and then they improve your processes. And then the people that you work with, the people that you work for, you don't come to work like them. You don't come to work with them. You come to work because of them. You come to work for them, right? So you don't just do your job as if you're an independent person because everybody around you is your boss, as it were, if you're in this profession, right? So there must be user engagement and leadership for you to get drive for excellence, because both from those you are working with as your staff and those you are working for as your customers, they all have roles to play. If they don't play it well, you cannot succeed. So engage employees at all levels, foster strong leadership by example, empower staff with the right tools and training, encourage the culture of continuous improvement, organize contributions that drive operational success, and ensure that everyone is aligned with the organization's vision and committed to achieving excellence. Just one or two bad apples in the team can be enough problem. So instead of you to treat it as if, oh, that's just one, do the 1 versus 99 parable, you read in the Bible, and go for that one and fix that one's problem. Try to engage and see what the issues are so that everybody can be aligned. If everybody are aligned on the path of excellence, you can be rest assured you will achieve your objective of operational excellence. And then, of course, we'll talk about benchmarking and performance measurement. If you don't, there's no way you can copy what others are doing well if you don't have data to support, create a description or paint an image of what you are doing, right? So it's very important that we as facility managers have a set of performance measuring system. If tasks are issued, when are they done? If SLAs are signed into agreements, how are we complying with those SLAs? Are there reworks that need to be counted? Are there times customers are not happy? Are we tracking and monitoring our customer satisfaction through surveys? What are we doing with those data and so on and so forth? You are doing all of that so that you know where you are at any time regarding all your key performance indicators, right? And so when you're trying to learn from other organizations, start to talk to other colleagues, start to talk to other departments, you know your data and you know what to extract from their own operations and services as the data that they will come from them for you to be able to compare to see where the gap is in your delivery. 1 second. Call is coming through. I need to tell this person I'm in a class, sorry. Okay. All right. So when you talk about your customers, you need to manage. I said before that customer perception is king. What the customer thinks is king, and you must measure it at 2 points. At the first point is before you start serving the customer, the expectations, managed, understood, and then the endpoints when you finish serving the customer, right? And this endpoint can be at every engagement on a weekly basis, at every interaction for a reactive job done, for every interaction for payment to be done, and whatever you create as a terminal point for deciding that something has been done, get the customers to tell you how well you have done. So a typical way of implementing this is having a work order. When you are scoping the work that needs to be done, you engage the customer. When you're trying to close the work order, you have a small section at the bottom where How did we do in this area? How did we do in that area? Use a simple 1 to 5 or 1 to 7 gauge to rate us. And then you put that into an analysis tool, a software, a spreadsheet, or whatever, that keeps tracking that from different customers or different tasks. And over time gives you an aggregate metric of how customers perceive your work. And these customer service attributes can be very different for different customers. There's no one magic wand when it comes to managing customer expectation and service quality attributes. Some want, timely response. If I ask for something, you respond. But some don't even want to get to the point where they ask. You should already know, right? So I shouldn't tell you that my door got stuck because the handle fell off and I couldn't open it, right? But that handle that fell off was loose for more than a week. And we're just managing it, holding it together until now it's falling off and swept off, and we can't find it to put back, and then we can open. So we have an emergency. So no matter how swiftly you swoosh in to save the day and be the hero, customers in that first category who see how quickly you respond to something will probably be impressed that you're very responsive, you're very good. Don't let that get into your head, because the customer who thinks that you are useless for allowing this thing to shake and shake and shake until it now got broken before you now want to start rushing and doing kati over it. Don't think this customer is overbearing, because the customer also is right. So the same you are good to one customer. In fact, that customer is happy. It's even dashing you or giving you drinks from the fridge to say you are super. The same you, in the same circumstance and scenario, to another customer is useless and worthless. If you were to rate yourself, how would you rate yourself? Most of us will toe the path of the first customer who says, oh, as soon as we were called, I responded so quickly and they were so happy, so that's who I am. No, don't deceive yourself. It is the second one that has a high expectation of you, that told you that you are useless for allowing him or her to so be the one to tell you of something you should have known. That's the real rating that you should have. That's the only way you can improve. That's the only way you can have a proper reality check of how you are doing with your customers. So don't gauge yourself by what your best customer says about you. Gauge yourself by what your worst customer says about you. You will speedily improve, okay? If there's a problem, you've identified, you responded, how quickly do you deliver it? If there's going to be a disruption, do you notify everybody about disruption? Or you think the disruption is going to be a short disruption? They shouldn't even notice that water is not flowing for the 10 minutes it takes to replace a filter or the filter candle, for example. No need to tell everybody. But that 10 minutes can be a crisis for 1 or 2 customers. Tell everybody. And even when disruptions happen, accidentally, urgent, strange, we don't know what happened. You don't just go fixing it. You have to first communicate. Oh, this happened, that happened. This is what we're doing about it. This one will give you further update. This one we hope to be able to finish it, and so on and so forth. Communication, that timely, that proactive approach is very key to FM success. Okay, and that includes feedback. During you are doing somebody's trying to move into an apartment. You are doing some renovation for the person, and you don't give him any information. You are working for a whole month. And you just expect that a person will just come after 1 month and everything is done. No, you give regular feedback on progress. So that if there's going to be a delay by 1 day, you don't wait until that day to say there is a delay. You don't do that. It's very key. In fact, what I have on this page that you are looking at now, it's your most important thing when it comes to operational excellence, because many people are giving FM a bad rap by doing everything that's opposite on this customer expectations and service quality attributes. Regular feedback. Do not overpromise. Instead, underpromise and overdeliver. Don't say, oh, I'll be back. It's 10 minutes. I'll just come and fix your light bulb. If the SLA for fixing light bulb is 12 hours or 1 day, 24 hours, say, I will make sure it's done within SLA. I'll make sure it's done before tomorrow. If you come back in 10 minutes, hurrah. If you even come back in 2 hours, fantastic. But if you tell me you are coming back in 10 minutes and you meet the MD at the stairwell and the MD says take this upstairs and make sure this is taking to another place, call it to come and do that. You have 4 tasks that you now need to do for the MD that precedes me, your customer that you have promised in 10 minutes, and you don't come in 2 hours. That 2 hours may be better than the SLA of 24 hours, which you are bound by. But because you told me 10 minutes, you have overpromised. You not came in 2 hours. I'll be hitting and rating you very poorly. So when you think that you have done very well, 2 hours, not 24 hours, so that should be a fantastic score. You will see a surprise score. Badly, you did very, very badly because you overpromised and underdelivered. Keep your integrity and avoid negative perception in your word and action. Don't promise what you can't do. Don't be undecided when somebody is committing you into things that you know you won't be able to deliver. Don't promise and say, have the excuse in advance of how you are not going to fulfill that promise. Your integrity is very important. Nobody should suspect that a dime got into your pockets in everything that you do. Everything that you do is done with integrity and professionalism. Keep your integrity, timely delivery of work, do your job on time, care, respect, and courtesy. You know, people you serve, don't look down on them, no matter how rich you are. You get very rich quickly in FM. Many people are already collecting 1.8 million, 2 million, 3 million as salary per month. They don't remember that they passed through here, and this is what I've taken them there and start seeing them, you know, driving big cars and raising shoulders. Even when you get there, still remember that you're a servant. People you are serving are all above you, no matter how rich or big you are in the profession. Care, respect, and courtesy. This is the only profession in the whole industry that we are serving in this built environment where you are the one that gives respect. You don't demand respect. But again, if you think about it, you give respect, you always get respect in return. Because respect is reciprocal, they say, right? And then cost effectiveness. You can't do FM at any cost. They can't be good at any cost. People are conscious of the cost. So don't see somebody who says, no, I want a cheaper one. So that person is too fake and too cheap. Their standard is too low. No. That is the highest quality and the highest standard for that person at that time, because that's what the person wants. Your job is to understand it. Cost effectiveness. Then professionalism in outlook and in action. You can't go about looking rash, wearing singlets and slippers, wearing short knicker, and dressing like somebody from a strip club if you're a lady in doing FM. No, that's not it. You have to, if somebody even calls you and we're doing an inspection, you can't be hands in your pockets and strolling around and pretending to be doing inspection. You have to have your notepad and pen. As you're talking, you are taking down notes, you are taking pictures. I mean, be professional so that when you leave there, the person knows that you capture what you need to do and you're on top of your game. And then have good housekeeping. Just basically making good. We call it making good. Wherever you find yourself to do any job, whether it's to run a new line, whether it's to fix furniture, whether it's to clean, just make sure it's better than you met it. I've seen some workmen that will finish, you know, servicing AC and tell the owner of the house to go and call their cleaner to come and clean. Did the cleaner put the dirt that was the dirt there when you got there? If the dirt was not there when you got there, you can't call the cleaner for it. You are the cleaner. That's part of good housekeeping. Attention to detail in problem identification, scoping and costing of jobs, as well as job completion certification. I've talked about this extensively. This is saying that you must figure out everything in advance and document them. When a scope is spread by you, you have considered every consideration. This scope is now final. Once you get approval, you're not going to come back to say there's need for variation or something you missed or something was not there or something has to change. And then if there's going to be a change and you don't communicate back to get approval to make that change, then you are doing something criminal. And at the end of the day, there must be a closure. The loop must be closed. We've done it. Please check. If it's in order, please, you know, endorse that it's in order and accept the work that we have done. You cannot assume that because they praised you and sang your praises and told you are doing well, that everything is now very good. Okay. You must know your facilities and facility services. First, it's your asset register. If you're managing facilities today and you don't have an asset register that clearly details every asset line item, every space, every equipment in each space, you have not started. Ignorant managers and supervisors and directors are probably thinking you are doing well because you're running heter-scatter and solving problems. but the basis for doing facility management, you don't have it, the asset register. That's number one. Number two, you must understand the operating conditions of every asset that you manage. So if you don't have an asset register, you cannot tell me you understand the condition of each asset. So you must do an asset condition assessment on top of your condition asset register. So you have a status update on the condition of every equipment. Okay, so that everything you do is it follows a structure, it follows a pattern. You must comply with specifications and standards. Talk about work processes and procedures, personnel quality. Somebody will call me and say, I need a facility manager in Ikoyi. I need an electrical engineer in Ikeja. And I'll be wondering, okay, so can you please write down what that means? There has to be a role specification. There has to be your breakdown of what you want done. The kind of person that can do it, the kind of task person will be doing, the kind of procedure person should have, kind of knowledge, skills, and ability person should have. Document all that so that when we find the right person, you will know that the right person fits what you described. And if you have someone else you need to train to fit that right person, you should be able to create a gap between what that person is now and what you have described as what you want. Okay? And then material standards as well. Tools and equipment, health, safety, and environment. There are standards for doing everything in facility management. But the good thing about standards is that there are multiple levels of standards. There are the regulatory standards, which are the rock bottom basis on which we cannot do worse. Okay, so what the law cannot accept is what becomes against the law is a falls below the regulatory standard. Above the regulatory standard is where we should be operating. So you have your personal professional standard, you have your corporate standard, you have your client standard. Each of these standards should be above the regulatory standard. Okay. Be proactive, be disciplined and orderly. Ensure you have a planned preventive maintenance program, have daily routine inspections in place, identify problems and report problems proactively. And then ensure that you have proper resource requirement planning, all the things that you will need for everything that you do. You should have them figured out before you engage. Communicate right with customers before, during, and after problem resolution. Embrace new technology and new ways of doing things through continuous learning and improvement. Prepare yourself and your team for the unknown, always. There's always going to be that need for plan B, plan C. You have a normal plan, but something can go wrong. Encourage learning from past mistakes and cooperation among team members. Many of our teams don't like doing root cause analysis. Something happened, we found a way around it, and we go to sleep. Next time that same thing happens again, we have to remember how we did it before, find another way of doing it, but we never did a root cause analysis. That's why it most likely will happen again and keep happening again. Always plan your work and get a clear overview before execution, and know when to seek help. We're in a community of professionals now. You belong here now, and help is always, one ask away. But don't ask until you have tried. That's why we say know when to seek help. Many people don't even want to put their brain into their own problem. They want to get another person to use its own brain to figure out their problem for them. At least start with something. Do an analysis of what you are doing and say, there's still a gap. I need help. I need support. I need to see what others are doing regarding this problem. That's how you begin to ask for help. FM generates a lot of data. FM is done with a lot of records. FM is done with a lot of reports. FM is done with a lot of information. So good documentation and record keeping is key to operational excellence. A good filing plan, occupant standard, occupant details, people you are serving, department, age, demographics, all of those data, the kind of buildings you are managing, the what we call the as-built plans, procedures and standards, HSE plans, statistics and records, and so on. There's a whole lot. Just a few of them. Some of us hold meetings from week to week. There's no minutes of meetings. There are no action line items for tracking progress or execution of the things we agreed during the meeting. What are we doing? Wasting time. And then, of course, when there are emergencies or things break down or incidents occur in our facility, you don't just deal with it and go and sit down. You make sure there's a report, there's a document that captures every incident and a log that captures every of those documents and keeps it as a history for learning, for prevention of future problems, and for improvement on a continuous basis. And then we have the health and safety considerations in facility management. You must know and comply with HSE procedures and standards, right? Your organization might have HSE management system in place. If they don't have, you have a responsibility to show that you can build one. And what is it? Basically come up with a draft policy, get management to approve it, and then add other section to HSE management system, like a plan for specific activities, HSE plan, how to identify hazards, how to identify risk of your operations. Just doing that for your facility management operations and activities alone has become the basis for an HSE management system for the organization that the others can build on, like HRO and finance and the rest of the additional departments. And then, of course, as part of our operations in facility management, we need to pay attention to job hazards. There's a tool for identifying hazards and planning to mitigate them. Safety data sheets when we use materials, chemicals, and the rest. We need to understand the implications of what we're using, the key ingredients, the implication of storing them, how to transport them, precautions when using them, and so on and so forth. Everything up to engine oils and diesel and glues and paints that we use in our facility should have an SDS. Daily toolbox meetings are not just meetings where we discuss health and safety. We basically discuss everything we want to do. Like, these are things that are scheduled for today, right? And this is how we are going to do them, who we do them, what materials will be required. We discuss them in the morning. Standing meeting of a few minutes takes care of that for you. It identifies the task, puts everybody's mind in tune for it, identifies the resources and tools and equipment that we deployed for it, and then it identifies the hazards related to it. We also use that time to also do cross-training. Each person can come up every morning to teach others something about the work that he does. So everybody can become familiar with each other's jobs. Plan minutes of HSE meetings, annual plan and report of fire drills and other drills in the facilities, HSE audits. These are all part of HSE awareness that we should have. We have a session that will cover all of this in greater detail in this program. The FM's job is an inspector's job, right? So it's key that as an FM, we understand how to carry out inspection. In fact, on a daily basis, we walk around. We say we do MBWA, management by walking around, which means we observe our users, we observe our workers, we do inspections of defects, we capture compliance and building code violations, and we do all of this proactively. We capture them before anyone else. So that when a complaint comes from a certain quarter in our facility, we've already experienced it, we've already captured it, we've already started working on it. That would be a good thing about management by working around. And your workers will not think of you as office bound and do rubbish on your site, because they know that suddenly you will show up. And if you show up, something serious can come out of them being caught doing trash during that time. Okay. And then plan to execute. Always plan to execute. Do not start what you have not planned. Execute only what you have planned. Planning gives you a total overview of the work, the resources you will need, critical success factors, failure factors, risk to be managed, how success or failure should be measured and reported, and the recovery plan. And these are some of the things you discussed, at the toolbox meetings early in the day before you start engaging in the activities. Get the right personnel, materials and equipment and tools. We talked about, most of the things, but important that you familiarize yourself with the process for different procedures in your organization, so that you're not, being in notice. And then finally, ensure that you comply with quality management standards. Okay, quality control, quality assurance, lessons learned, root cause analysis, management facility inspections, and all of the other tools that bring you to that continuous improvement points in your facility. All right, so that's our lesson for today. Now is the time to see what questions, notes lessons. Can we please turn on our videos? Many of us have not really met. Some of us were late, so I didn't quite meet us. For example, this is the first time I'm meeting Esther Kalu. Welcome. Welcome. Gochuku. Emeka J, can you please turn on your video? Shei Shola Shitu. Okay, that's Emeka, good. Adora.
Yes.
Okay, there you are. Good. Welcome. Leo Anete, where are you? Okay, so let's talk quickly. The class is not okay. I go on my page 2. So this is Sam, Esther, Clement, Sheung. Okay, these are staff of Max-Migold. Okay. I think I have the key. Philomena, right? Okay, Philomena, are you here?
Yes, I'm here, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Your video is not working, or you don't want to show it. You've not done makeup. I'll show you if you don't want me to mark you absent.
Sir, I'm present too, please.
That time, makeup will not help you.
Yes.
Welcome.
Can you see me, sir?
Okay. Yes. I see you're welcome.
All right. Thank
Victoria.
You,
Victoria, welcome. I see you at Biodun, Adebola, and Oga Adamu. Welcome. All right. Good evening, so sir. We've just had a very how would you describe the class session we just had? Anybody can speak. Use your raise hand feature and okay, Adamu, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, sir. It's a pleasure to be here once again, and like I did mention to you, yes, I've had experience in facility management, but this is the first time I'm going through a structured training that is taking me through almost every step of the way. Yes, some of these things I've done them, but you know, structurally, this is refreshing, and I'm having a grasp of what you are saying. It's like I'm watching a picture, doing some of these things. So it's really very, very enlightening, to be candid. Beyond that, I realize again that facility management is very wide. Is wider than what I've been thinking or doing. Is almost where sometimes they say that lawyer knows almost every profession. Lawyers, that's why they call them learned colleagues. But I think I will contest that now as a facility manager, because I hope there are no lawyers in the house that will sue me. But I mean, because to be candid, facility management is almost everything. There is no way, and I'm amused when we say that we be doing other business, then the core function of the business is not about us. But without facility managers, you can't be doing core functions of the business.
Yeah, you're right.
And I agree with you. One aspect where you mentioned the issue of costs, that we just spend the money, we don't bring money. But it is the actions that we do that brings money. Take the simplest of things. Take the simplest of things, janitorial services, cleaning.
Yeah.
When your toilets are smelling, when the environment is untidy, when the place is unkept, very unclean, or when there's no water within the facility, I mean, how are you going to cope? Or we just say there's no light. or you just switch off the AC, turn off the generators. Who will be able to sit and do any work? So
Right.
really, I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to more classes whereby I'll get a better understanding of my responsibility. Thank you very much, sir.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Adam. Welcome. Adora, go ahead.
Okay. So today's class is fire. As in, I just kept on jotting and writing and taking notes, and I'm like, hey, the little I thought I knew, I know that I don't know anything at all. So when you started with FM facility managers manages the people who use the building, I'm like, I thought we were talking about building here. So I think facility management covers every area, customer service, project management.
Yes.
I mean, everything.
Yes.
And I've got to understand.
Right.
And then when you said don't overpromise and under-deliver, rather under-promise and over-deliver. I work as an admin officer, so most times when my staff come to tell me, oh, I have this, I listen to them, I tell them, oh, that's true. You know what? I'm going to call this person immediately. I'm going to do that. The next minute I'm leaving there, something else is already taking my mind off. And at the end of the day, I don't attend to that person. So most times it's like that. And then communication and feedback being very key. That is really, really important. And, being proactive. So there was really a lot I learned today. Thank you very much for a wonderful class.
Fantastic. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for that. And we will what I expect from here is that as you get back to work tomorrow, you will put some of these into practice and begin to get feedback. I like to hear the response of your colleagues, saying the way you're changing and tweaking your approach to things from the lessons you're learning from here. All right, Sunday.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good evening.
I quite appreciate your class, and to be candid, it's my first time of experiencing this kind of class. And moreover, with what my colleague earlier said, that this FM actually is a broad discipline. On this file, I was looking at it as if it's a narrow kind of profession. But with the class you have actually expatiated, that made me to understand. In short, we are even more than more learning people. If you are to follow with what you just actually taught us.
Yeah.
Yes, because before the class today, I have actually been looking at this FM. Is it just narrowed to this building office? But with what we just talked today, I think, and I have a brother who that there's a lot of work to be done. But there's a question I want to ask.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is it possible for one to be in a different profession at the same time? You get my question?
When you say different profession, what do you have in mind?
Like personally, I'm of the engineering. Now, another profession like the aspect of the lawyer or the education sectors and other areas of professions. Is it possible?
Okay, let me explain something here. A profession is what you do for people. It is very different from a discipline. A discipline is what you have acquired. So if I acquire engineering as a skill or a qualification, that's a discipline. If I'm not practicing engineering, I'm not in the profession of engineering. So I could be a qualified engineer, not a professional engineer because I'm not delivering engineering services. Do you understand what I'm saying? See the difference? Now, a doctor who studied medicine but is working in a bank, managing as a bank manager, is no longer a professional doctor. He's gotten the discipline of medicine or surgery, but his profession now is what? Banking, isn't it? So don't confuse the two. You cannot do two professions at once, except one is a main profession and the other one is your side hustle. Let me put it that way, because there are some people that are doctors by day, they do their shift in the hospital, but when they get home, they have an online shop on Instagram that they will update their shop, and then people will be placing order for fabric or clothing or whatever, right? And that business will be running on the side. So you can say, oh, that person is in this profession, but he has a side profession where he makes money from. You get what I'm saying? So those are the 2 points I would like to give you there. There's a difference between your discipline. You studied engineering, but if you're using engineering to work in facility management, your profession is facility management. Let me give you one quick example. If you work in a bank and you are in charge of meeting room, coffee and tea, and cleaning the place and preparing the meeting centers, right? Are you in banking? The answer is no. You are in facility management because you are enabling core banking to take place by providing meeting rooms and providing refreshments, isn't it? You are in facility management. If you move to a hotel or a restaurant and you are doing the same setting tables and preparing meals and serving meals and the rest, are you in facility management or are you in the hotel business? Because what you are doing now is part of the core business. You are no longer in FM. You are now in the core business. The same thing with an engineer. A mechanical engineer can be in the plants, operating the plants today. That same mechanical engineer could be removed from the plants and be put in charge of generator and water supply. He has just changed profession from manufacturing to facility management with the same discipline of mechanical engineering. Let's hear from Ugochukwu.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity. Actually, opened my eyes a lot of things because I am back in my last job in Abuja. I worked as a procurement officer for a real estate company. So the aspect of that and checking doing that in the morning, and taxis, I really appreciate it. And my boss will come to the side and he will now be emphasis. I don't have to responsibility and be punished by being my salary was deducted. So I got pissed and I was like, okay, I didn't really understand what was actually going on with it.
The salary was deducted because of what? What did you do?
Okay, because of I didn't take there was a machinery, or should I say a tool that was not being used properly. So that's actually penalty. I was doing so now
you're penalized
because
for
of what
failing on your duty of care.
Yes, because I was now trying to relate that I'm a procurement officer, so this is not going to be supposed to be my responsibility. So because of when you mentioned that aspect, I was now laughing at myself and saying, okay, now I see where my fault was. So it actually opened my eyes to a whole lot of things. Thank you, sir.
That's good. That's good. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy, you're still muted. Unmute. You're muted. Click on your mic and unmute. Yeah, but it's muted. Try and figure out how to unmute so you can speak. Olushola, let's hear from you in the meantime.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Ford and everyone on the call. So thank you so much, Mr. Paul. At least today I've been able to learn and relearn. So because during the course of the of your teaching, so I was able to understand the required skills and competence required as a facility manager. We talks about the technical skills, the interpersonal, and the managerial. So likewise, also during the course of the training, I've been able to also know the emphasis of the SOP, because even with our SOP, it will make work seamless for us. That is, we would have a process in place for anything you want to do within the office premises. So even with that, it should also assist vendors that are coming in to work, because you know that, oh, if you are going to so company, this is their standard of operation, that is which you must strictly adhere to. And also during the teaching, also I've been also able to know the core principles of operational customer. It goes business because of customers, because of people, and for definitely give them the best. So that's why this also comes in, whereby in solving their problem, we should just make sure that every request is being closed out within the agreed SLA. Yes, Mr. Paul.
Thank you so much. That's fantastic. Yeah, but you can mute it now if you want to speak.
Good evening, everyone. I think my question is, in a case whereby the manager is up and doing, and people under him or her, they are not just delivering what they are meant to do. So what will you advise us to do in this case? You are up and doing, you are doing everything right, you are overseeing everything, but the people under you, maybe your plumber or your electrician, when you ask them to execute the job given to you, and they don't turn up to it, and everything still goes down to you. In that case, what do you do?
Yeah, but you see the way I'm laughing when you are asking, because this is a typical situation many FMs find themselves. If I was to give you a very short answer, you are not doing your job. If people wonder you are not doing theirs. The long answer is that you have a series of processes to put in place and learn to apply that will get them to either do their job, shape up, or ship out. You get what I'm saying? If you start doing your job professionally the way we will teach you in this class, everybody will sit up. You know, we'll have a session where we're going to talk about performance management. We're going to talk about another session where we're going to talk about HRO. The other session we're going to talk about stakeholder management, customer service. Each of these classes, you will get, tips and tricks on how to change the way you manage them. Okay? And before long, everything will start turning up for you. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. This man, you're welcome. This man, go.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. We hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. For me, I must say that I have really learned a lot. In fact, earlier this morning, when I got to the office, Okay, please let me introduce myself because I joined a bit late. Think about like 10 minutes or so. Okay, my name is Usman Abdullah Benjamin, and I work at the Asset Management Group here in Abuja as a property manager. And okay, so my reaction to this today's section, I must say that it's a bit of eye opener to some of the facility management services that I have come across, especially being as a property manager. You equally, perform facility management, provide facility management services as well. Yeah, so and one of the things I understand, you made mention of most times when we carry out majorly we do reactive maintenance, carry out reactive maintenance, which are basically the bulk of what the usual normal FM, do. And most times when you find yourself, you are not properly trained, you won't really understand what you're actually doing, in that particular role. You will not understand because you also feel that, oh, when there's a breakdown, you come in, you get it fixed, and then wow, you're done. But it's totally, with the picture I'm actually seeing now, it's a bit, it's much more than that. Okay, it's much more than that, and I cannot wait to, explore the depth and then how facility management has truly, involved in everything that we're doing, within the built space. So it's
Awesome.
it's a really, very important journey for me now. I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So we hear from Modupe.
Okay, good evening, everybody. It's a privilege to be here. I have been looking forward to joining this class, and I'm glad that I'm in now. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Paul. I really enjoyed this session, class. And for me, I'm a one-man mopo. When you were talking about how that facility management is a teamwork, I'm the only one here. And I see how that I'm overburdened, I'm overstretched with work.
Okay.
Yes, it's a very broad aspect, and I sometimes get overwhelmed on how I can, strategically put these things in place and really see, results and see that okay, my department as a one-man mopole is thriving, and it's not just let's take every day as it comes, because that's what I'm doing, obviously. So yes, I just wanted to chip that in. Thank you very much.
Good, thank you. One thing you can do is begin to see your external service providers, your vendors and contractors as part of your team. Begin to see the cleaners who clean your spaces as part of your team. Begin to see the security guards as part of your team. Devise ways to, pull them close, engage them. There are many things they see that they don't tell you. By the time you start connecting them into this teamwork, they will begin to tell you things and get better at what to do. So one man, not possible. There are always people you can put into that team. Okay. All right, Leo. Leo, you can speak now. Leo is outside, don't even qualify to speak. So we'll go to Paul Chidi. Leo, sorry, you can't speak. You are not in the proper place to be in the class. Chidi, go ahead.
Okay.
I like it when I can enforce my rules. Chidi, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I really want to appreciate this class. Okay, for me, the breaking point was, or is rather, trying to understand facility management as not about the building itself, but about people. Because I'm a civil engineer and I've been practicing for a while, but coming into facility management as the job role I'm on right now has given me a different view about it. I've always been seeing it as about the facility itself, making it functional for the people to come and work in or be comfortable doing their job. But I'm already understanding it differently right now. And I thank you for this insight. Yeah, so but I just have a question. It's just like a general question anyways. I want to understand the difference between duties, roles, and responsibilities. Do you have any differences, or they're just connected together? We can use duties to replace roles, or use roles to represent responsibilities.
Yeah, they're the same thing by and large. Yeah. Because
thank you very much.
If I want to separate them, I'll probably say it's possible for you to have some responsibility you impose on yourself, right? Whereas duties are always imposed on you, isn't it? Roles and duties are closer to responsibilities that could be imposed or not imposed, right? So if you remove those that are imposed on those that you impose on yourself, then you can differentiate the three, but they're used simultaneously or synonymously. Okay.
Thank you.
The last person to speak was supposed to be Edwin, but I see Lukman's hand is up, and Lukman's video is not on, so that makes it easy for me to just allow Edwin to speak and we close.
Oh, my mic is on.
Okay.
Yeah, your video is not on. Edwin, go ahead.
Oh.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Paul, for this opportunity. Actually, I've come to see how this.
You're muted now, Edwin.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm getting feedback from somebody else. Where I once worked before as the head of graphics, I was a little bit versed in software and hardware management. So my major work over there was graphic design. Still now, that's what I'm still doing. So when it comes to maintenance and cost effective, like you mentioned, how to manage cost and reduce and be prompt in doing your job diligently. I now see how I'll be able to support what I was doing back then. Because when it comes to issue of software, where the systems are having issues and require me to sort out some called experts, due to my basic knowledge of those field of expertise, I was able to maintain the system of all my staffs around me, the staff around my colleagues, so that though the cost of acquiring new system have been put aside, I was able to maintain and manage the softwares of all the equipment that is in the office before I left the office. And if peradventure the network is not even able to come up, I was able to solve things. So me seeing that, I was able to know that I can able to reduce costs in that company. And that's why they really appreciate my work. So when I was leaving the company, they were shocked that why am I going?
When you show value, they're definitely going to be appreciated. Thank you for that. Lukman, 1 minute. It's already 7 o'clock. I need to close now. So I'll give you 1 minute. I'll give Esther 1 minute. No hand should go up again. Go ahead, Lukman. You're muted.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Balukun Lukman. It's good to be here. I'm new to facility management, and during the course of the lecture, I was able to come to a conclusion. So I don't know if the conclusion is actually valid. Can we actually say, according to what I've jotted down, that facility management is actually a way of life? Because it looks at the management of people for facilities, management of facilities for the people, and also one of the things you mentioned, the key element of facility management is it manages people's perception and expectation. So I just want to be sure if, like, basically everyone actually needs facility managers in their houses.
Exactly.
We are primary facility managers. I just want to be clear. I think it's like a way of life. Something
it's very valid. That's your conclusion. Your conclusion is beautiful. Well put. I like that summary because our primary role is to improve quality of life. So if we get it right, our lives will be better, both at home, at work, anywhere we find ourselves. Well done. Esther.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Paul. I am so super happy to be here. In fact, facility management, I was co-opted into facility management 2 years ago. I am the event center manager where I work. I'm a staff of Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA. So when I became the manager, at some point, everything just looked crazy and overwhelming. You have to manage the generator, manage security, manage cleaners, manage this, manage that. It was so overwhelming that initially I thought of running away, I thought of resigning. But thank God I met a friend that encouraged me, and she said, no, that facility management is very broad, is an interesting with a trial. So when I registered for this course, I was very, very eager. I was very eager. In fact, when I got to know that the date was moved forward, I was angry. I was like, why would they move it forward? So that enthusiasm and all that, I believe before the end of this course, I will be a better facility manager. So I'm looking forward to a whole lot. I can't wait. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Congratulations for being here. Well done. And thank you, everyone, for making this such a wonderful class. Please, on Friday, one thing I want you to do as a class is come into class early. I want us to be getting our classes to start exactly 5, and we start hitting it from that point. So if anybody is late by 1 minute, that person should have lost value. That's what I want us to instill in this class. So please. And then your assessment is there. The last slide of this training material. Please do it now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Just open it now while it's still fresh. You can scroll through the material and just answer those 10 questions. Save it, upload it, and then you go sleep. Thank you and have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.